Welcome. We're on the red couch with Barbara Glanz, certified speaking professional who works with organizations that want to improve morale, retention, and service. She is the author of 11 best-selling how-to books, and in 2011 was inducted into the prestigious CPAE, Council of Peers Award for Excellence, Speakers Hall of Fame. She is known as the business speaker who speaks to your heart as well as your head. And she is the first speaker on record to speak in all 50 states and on all 7 continents. She has won numerous honors, including being voted Best Keynote Presenter by Meeting and Conventions magazine, and selected as a Legend of the Speaking Profession by the Veteran Speakers. She has been featured on radio and in print nationwide and on all the major networks, including ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox TV, and now on the red couch. Barbara, I am thrilled to have you on the red couch.
Thank you. Me too.
You know, you've spoken on every continent. That's incredible. And I was curious about Antarctica.
Well, wonderful blessing. My university knew that I had spoken on 6 continents, and so they called and said, how would you like to speak on 7? And so we took a ship down. I took a friend with me, and you had to take zodiacs from the ship to the shore, and all the penguins are all around me, but there actually were people there too. And it's kind of neat. They have an international worldwide treaty that only 50 people could ever be on land on the entire continent at one time.
Wow.
So there were 49 other people and me. So it was just a wonderful experience. And as a result, I am going to probably be in the Guinness Book of World Records. They're still doing the research on the background now.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, pretty exciting.
That's amazing. You have had quite a few losses in your life. And I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what happened at that time in your life and how it got you to where you are now.
Well, I think I have a wonderful story for your audience because I'm a real message of hope, especially to women who choose to stay home with their children. I grew up in a very small town in Iowa, went to college, got married. I taught high school and college English for several years. And then when our children were born, we made the decision that I would stay home with them. So I stayed home for almost 19 years. And I made the kids my career, and I finished my master's degree, 1 class a quarter for 5 years. And then in 85, I guess it was, I went back to work 86 or 88 full time, and then started my own company at age 50
Wow.
in 1995. But during that time, we had a child who died. My husband died a few years ago of cancer. So a lot of losses, a lot of things that you don't plan to have happen in your life. But I learned wonderful lessons from that. One was to live 5 minutes at a time. There were many days, especially after our little boy died, that I didn't even feel like I could get through until noon. But I could always do 5 minutes. And it really taught me to be fully in the present. And learned every day is a gift. And when we wake up in the morning, it is a wonderful opportunity to say, what joy can I experience today? And then the biggest result was one of my books that came out called What Can I Do? Ideas to Help People Who've Experienced a Loss. And really for several years after both of these losses, all over the world, I collected ideas from people when they've had a loss. I asked, what did people do that made a difference for you? And then what do you wish someone had done?
Wonderful idea. What are some examples of things that people can do?
Well, for one thing, I didn't go to the grocery store for months after both times we had a loss because I knew I would see all kinds of people who didn't know. And even though I was physically able to do it, if someone had said, get your grocery list ready, I'm coming over, I want to go to the store for you, I would have been so grateful. Yeah. And another wonderful one, a friend who had met my husband but didn't really know him, called a few weeks after he died. She said, I'm bringing dinner and I want you to come, I'm coming over and I want you to get out your photograph album and all your wedding album and all night you're just going to tell me about Charlie.
That's lovely.
And no matter how long someone has been gone, that's a wonderful way to share the joy of their lives.
Absolutely. Because most people say, oh, anything you need, give me a call. But then it's hard to reach out and actually ask for the help.
Exactly.
So you need to come forward and
just offer, and don't give words, just hugs, but do something, because it makes you feel like a leper when people don't do anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, get the book. It has all kinds of ideas.
I love that one. That's amazing. Now, the 5 minutes at a time, how is it like just being completely present for those 5 minutes?
Yes. Yeah, and it's when I'm with someone, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do the next day or the next hour or whatever. It's just being fully in the present. And it's a wonderful gift that comes. I think you realize you're in so much pain that no one can hurt you anymore.
Right.
And so you just choose to be totally who you are and authentic and real, and to be fully present.
You absolutely live everything. I have many of your books, and you really embody the characteristics that you talk about and that you write about. And I'm very excited about spreading contagious enthusiasm. And I think you have.
I do.
You have one of those as well.
I do. And all of my books pretty much are idea books, because I think everybody is kind of in survival mode.
Yeah.
And so what can we do differently this afternoon? So this is 180 ways to spread contagious enthusiasm.
I love
and that has always been my personal motto. Do you believe enthusiasm is contagious?
Absolutely.
I know you do.
You
Yes, you
contagious.
do. But I love that the root words of enthusiasm are entheos, ever from God.
Yeah.
Something bigger than any of us. And so I ask my audiences, are you, whether you're a mom, or a business person or a teacher, or one of the folks working on this program, are you contagiously enthusiastic about the importance of the work you're doing? Because if you're not contagiously enthusiastic, how do you expect anyone else around you to be?
So let's say you're in a job that you don't feel is important, or it's not a job that you ultimately want to be in. Can you still
Absolutely. And what I say when I work with an organization, I walk around and I ask people, what is your work? And when I ask that question, almost everybody tells me either a job description or a title.
Right.
And what I want to say to everybody out there is that we are all so much more than a job description or a job title. So when I ask, what is your work? What I want to know is, how is what you do every day making somebody's life better? That's your work. And you see, even if it's a job that you don't like, if you realize that you're making somebody's life better,
right,
you can have a passion or a mission about it, even if the actual job itself isn't what you're thrilled with.
Right. Well, I love, and I know you have done workshops all over the world. How many do you lead a year?
Oh, I probably speak to about 20,000 people a year.
Wow.
Yeah,
and you're always traveling. Last time I talked to you was a couple months ago, and you have been to 11 countries since then. But you tell a story that's one of your most famous stories, and you wrote a book with Ken Blanchard about this signature story that's yours. I'm hoping you'll tell it.
Yes, this is the Johnny the Bagger story, and it's been such a blessing for me to have been the catalyst for this story. And over 7 million people have watched it on YouTube or on my website. Do you want me to tell this story?
I would love it. Okay. I would love it. I hope I don't cry.
Oh, I know, everybody cries. It's okay. It shows your heart is at home. But about 12 years ago now, I was asked to speak to 3,000 employees of a large grocery store chain. And I love it when a company brings everybody. So they brought the baggers and the cashiers and the meat packers and the produce people and the truck drivers. And one of the things I had said to them was, how can you, whatever your job is, what can you do to make the customer feel special? How can you add your personal signature to your work? And I gave them a lot of ideas. experience. Well, I give my home phone number to every audience in the world. I've never had a bad experience. So about a month after I'd spoken, I had a phone call one afternoon, and it was a young man. He told me his name was Johnny and that he was a bagger in one of the stores, and also told me he was a person of Down syndrome. And he said, Barbara, I liked what you said. And he said he got an idea. And he went home that night and he asked his dad if he could help him. And he said they set up the computer into 3 columns, and that every night when he goes home, and I suspect he's still doing this, but he said he found a thought for the day. And he said, if I can't find one I like, I think one up. Now, I'd love to see what he thought up. But he and his dad typed it 50 times, 6 pages, 6 times on a page, 50 pages every night. He cuts them out, signs his name on the back, and the next day, for every person's groceries he bags, he puts a thought for the day in the bag. Now, I had tears. About a month later, the store manager called me, and he said, Barbara, you won't believe what happened this morning. He said, when I went out on the floor about 9:30 this morning, the line at Johnny's checkout was 3 times longer than any other line. He said, I went ballistic. I was yelling, get more lanes open, get more people out there. And the customers said, no, we want to be in Johnny's lane. We want the thought for the day. So he said, who do you think is the most important person in our whole store? So one woman came up and said, I only used to shop once a week, but now I come in every time I go by because I want the thought for the day. Called me back, and 3 months later, he said, you and Johnny have transformed our store. He said, now in the floral department, when they have a broken off flower, an unused corsage, we used to just throw them away. He said, now they go out on the floor and find an older woman or little girl and pin it on them. And one of our meat packers loves Snoopy, so he ordered 50,000 Snoopy stickers, and every time he packages a piece of meat, his meat gets a Snoopy sticker on it. Now I said, I don't know about dog stickers on meat. But he said, we are having so much fun, and our customers are having so much fun. So just the idea that one person in a job that most people would say isn't very important, he made it important. And as a result, turned the entire organization upside down.
Wow.
So I always say to my audiences, if little Johnny can do it, no reason why every one of you can't do it as well.
Stay tuned for part 2 of this interview on the Red Couch.